Hi everyone, my name is Frankie and I'm presenting the Tranche 2 update for Latch built by Tricky One Labs. So as you already know, Latch is an open source onboarding and account management stack for Stellar Smart accounts. Our goal is to make Stellar Smart accounts that's contract addresses, right, usable for normal users, wallets, dApps and on-ramp providers. The RFP we're responding to focuses on a very specific ecosystem problem. And that is, C addresses are important for the next generation of Stellar dApps, but they still have an onboarding friction. So users cannot easily find the C address, right? Um, Using the familiar Stellar rails that already exist and that they understand, like G addresses and sex withdrawals and fiat on ramps. And then also beyond funding, there needs to just be a modern wallet tooling, right, around the Open Zeppelin smart account standard. So that's the problem that Latch is solving. In Tranche 1, we built the on-chain foundation, right? That included the smart account contracts, the verifier contracts, the factory contracts, and all making sure that they implemented the Open Zeppelin standard, right? But then for this particular tranche, we moved from just the contract capability into real testnet product flow. So we focused on three things, right? The funding, the wallet usability, and then the dApp interaction. So for the funding, right, we had to build the core bridge, that is the G2C bridge protocol, right? This is the core engine behind Latch. So our initial design, we explored a single user to a single G address. Right? For every C address, that there's a corresponding G address behind it. But we rejected that now because the reserve cost, the key management complexity, and all of the UX and risk behind it. So instead, we now decided to go for a pooled address, a pooled G address model, then with parented memo IDs. And so I just walk you through an explainer video now on how it works. So let's say a user needs to fund their smart account. The user opens the funding intent, right? The backend asks the relayer for a short-lived deposit session, right? The relayer then returns the pooled address and then the memo. And so just like every other C or how the current on-ramp and sex withdrawals work, right? They need an address and the memo. And so the on-ramps then go ahead to use this G address and then the memo and then deposit funds into that address. And then what the relayer does is that it watches that pool account for any deposit. And then once the deposit is there, all right, it reads the memo, checks the intent table, and then verifies that that intent is valid and unexpired, and then creates a forwarding record. So this gives the familiar Stellar deposit UX, right, that everybody's already familiar with, while actually funding a smart account. So this relayer includes retries, idempotency, expiry handling, recovery logic for missing or invalid memos. So yeah, and then the second deliverable was the wallet core, right? In tranche two, the wallet now supports core wallet functions. After you set up your account, you can send, you can receive token balances, the assets, metadata, and then all the transaction histories. Um, we support the passkey and web flow, delegated G addresses, and then the signing and mnemonic imports. And then lastly, we then looked at the dApp interaction flow. And so a smart account wallet is useful if dApps can, request authorization from it, right? So we supported an injected window provider and a URL sign request path. And so based in summary, we built a test dApp and then have the test dApp interact with our wallet, and we're able to sign with it and all of that. And so the public proof for all of this project is in our Notion page. We have the Relayer repo, the backend repos, the browser extension, the mobile companion apps, the live Relayer endpoints, demo videos, and all the stellar transaction evidences. And yeah, so looking ahead to the final tranche, we're actually now moving from mainnet to from testnet to mainnet, right? And that means mainnet deployment. We need audit fixes. We need to publish the SDK and publish integrations and documentations and example integrations for wallet and apps. So the goal is not just that Latch works as our own wallet, right? But the other Stellar wallets and dApps, and then the onboarding providers can, integrate and start using C addresses, right? They support C address without rebuilding the same infrastructure from scratch. And so Latch is handling that. And yeah. um, so by the end of the final tranche, right, we should have an reusable open source path for moving users today to the Stellar Smart Account model, right? And SDK documentation and everything that they would need for all of the other ecosystem partners. So yeah, thank you.